What you guys got another video? Microsoft removed printer drivers in Windows 11 updates. And this is what you need to know about it. Basically, in the name of security for Microsoft's operating system, Microsoft is ditching support for legacy V3 and V4 printer drivers in Windows 11. Now, Microsoft did warn about this back in September 2023, but Microsoft have only just started to roll out an update in January 2026, which will remove support for these old printers. So if you've got an old printer, it's probably going to end up in landfill because you're not going to be able to do anything with it on Windows 11. Now, whether you've got this on an older operating system, that will be fine. But if you try to install drivers on a modern operating system like Windows 11, it's just not going to work and you're going to have an issue trying to install that driver. Now, you might be able to try to recycle your printer or use it offline with an older operating system that is not connected to the internet, but Microsoft officially advises users to contact printer manufacturers to see whether it's possible to get a driver that is supportive of the new requirements that Microsoft have got in place. Now, also another important thing to mention is manufacturers are still selling basic printers that are reliant on V3 and V4 drivers. And if we check Microsoft's post here, which says deprecation of legacy printer drivers, it says starting in January 2026, Windows will no longer support V3 and V4 printer drivers. These older driver models were announced as deprecated in September 2023. Most customers use newer printer drivers or modern printing solutions, which continue to work and are recommended if your printer depends on V3 or V3 drivers. It may stop installing or working, and after support ends, to avoid interruptions, contact your printer manufacturer and update to a supported printer driver or another current printing solution. And that was printed back on January 2026 when they started to roll out updates to stop those printers from working. And this is the update right here that they've been rolling out on January 29th, 2026, KB 5074105. Once this is installed on the system, these driver versions for version 3 and version 5 will stop working and your printer will be pretty much dead if you're using Windows 11 with that old printer. So if you've got a printer and it suddenly stops working, this is the reason why. And Microsoft did obviously post on their website end of servicing plan for third-party printer drivers on Windows, and it goes into detail there about exactly what is happening. Now, of course, all of these documents are heavily buried on Microsoft's website, and it's not very easy to find this information. So without channels like myself giving you information, you could be sitting there thinking, what's happened to my printer? It's suddenly just stopped working. And of course, you're going to end up throwing that printer out and it's then going to end up in landfill. I think it could be a little bit more clearer because they did mention this back in 2023, and it's all probably due to the vulnerability in the print spooler service, which could allow remote code execution. And this major vulnerability back in 2021 was called Print Nightmare. It was an exploit allowing attackers to execute malicious code remotely through the Windows Print Spooler service, which was a major problem for Windows. So they did patch it, and they've been trying to get rid of the old obsolete legacy hardware, which is going to make obviously things a lot more easier to keep under control and more secure for Windows users. So that's probably the reason why they've actually done this. So if you're wondering why your printer has stopped working, or it's just failing to install the driver, or any of these problems, then it's probably due to the actual update that you've installed, which will stop these printers from working in the future because they have old drivers that rely on version 3 or V3 and V4. And Microsoft have got an article on V4 and V3 on their website, which you can read all about on there. I'll leave links for these in the video description. So what can you do? Well, like I said, contact your manufacturer and hopefully they will release an updated driver that will support your printer. If not, it's time to discard that old printer, unfortunately, and get yourself a new one, which is obviously compatible with Windows 11 if you're using it on Windows 11. Otherwise, you're probably going to see something like this where you're going to get a red light and it's not going to work and not going to install the driver either. And that way it's pretty much like a doorstop for you. So unfortunately, this is the way Microsoft have gone now, trying to clean up their act and get rid of all this old legacy hardware and tighten up the security on their operating system. Anyway, with that said, I think that is going to be about it. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, what you think about this move and policy that Microsoft have put in place, and I'll be happy to read your comments. Big shout out to all my YouTube members who have joined my YouTube members group. I really do appreciate the support, and I shall catch you in the very next video. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.